seltzer.com. Get some 8% seltzer shipped right to your house. We got the peach, we got the watermelon, we got the pina colada, and the blue raspberry. We are currently live in over 300 stores in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Outer Banks in North Carolina. And if you're heading out to the Major League ballparks this summer, make sure to check us out in the Miami Marlins Stadium, as well as Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays, as well as the Tampa Bay Rowdies. We are live inside all three stadiums. So if you're down in Florida this year, check us out. Go to hardafseltzer.com today and check your store locator or order them right to your house.
Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
Yeah, welcome to Week 10 College Football Pick'em Show, brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros will double your first deposits all the way up to $1,000. Bob is with us today here. D'Anthony's doing some stuff with Veterans Independence Fund right now. And Bob.
He's trying to make the world a better place.
He sure is.
We're here doing the important shit. We're just talking about what matters.
College football.
Yeah.
I don't care what goes on in Israel.
No, I don't care. Anywhere.
No.
Outside of the SEC, Big Ten, whatever. Yeah,
that's kind of it.
That's all that affects my life.
Same. And that's, I think we're doing God's work, and I don't know what he's doing right now, but good for him. Something with veterans, and God bless. But if you were gambling with us as of Monday's show, I believe I called this number one ranking here in the brand new CFP. Oh, it's the first one. It's the first one of the year, actually.
First one of the year.
Yeah, the Ohio State's Buckeyes are number one in the polls here. Kids, told you to throw a little money on that. Got an inside tip on it. But look, the question is whether or not this list is justified here. Going down it, let's start with one, Ohio State. I'll go ahead and answer first since it is my school. It is a fucking hard no.
I'm sorry. Committee wants to reward teams for playing other teams.
You have the best wins.
Yeah, you have the best wins.
I get it, man, but they've been, oh God, what's the word here? Lucky, ugly, gross. They're throwing out nicknames for Marvin Harrison now because they started with Marvelous, right?
Yeah.
And that's Hagler, in my opinion. You don't go Marvelous Marvin someone else.
Okay.
Like that's already been taken by Marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Okay.
Gus Johnson then a couple weeks ago came up with Maserati Marv, which is fine. A company came in and gave him a Maserati, and they're trying to make that work.
Lord.
Right? But if you're going to do that, I think it's only fair then, if you have Maserati Marv, to call our quarterback Honda McCord because he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And so this number one ranking for this 1 week is total dog shit to me, and I think this will literally change next week, and Georgia will hit that top spot.
I mean, you're just like 2021 Georgia, if you think about it. Just elite defense.
Look, maybe the best defense in the nation. No quarterback to speak of, and look, I hate Stetson Bennett as much as Georgia fans do out there, but he was accurate. He got it done in spots that it mattered. He wasn't throwing this many picks, and the passes weren't going 2 to 3 feet wide. If you don't have the two best wide receivers in the nation that currently, and if you believe in Mel Kiper's big board, you believe in it, are both in the top 10 as far as who's going in the draft this year, I don't know that this kid completes a fucking pass.
Hey, man, he's got him.
I'm sorry. Cade Stover, also supposed to go number one for tight end.
Right.
You've got all the weapons there, so like, I guess, but I trust him as much as I trust you. If you were out there throwing the same balls, I think you would have the same results.
I appreciate your faith in me.
Yeah. But also, Georgia has won the last national championships on paper here.
And they're loaded.
Loaded.
Like they always, Ohio State does too, but just Georgia's always a top like 4 or 5 recruiting class. So,
but Georgia's looking better and better each week.
They're hitting their fucking stride.
They are. And that quarterback, Carson Beck there, looks like he could be the real deal. I think we'll find out more, obviously, Saturday because they're playing their first ranked opponent all year in Missouri.
Okay.
That's it. You know that, right?
Are we their first ranked?
Yes.
They haven't played anyone with a number next to their name?
No one.
Fuck.
No one. Here.
Wasn't Kentucky ranked?
That's what I'm wondering, if Kentucky was ranked during that game.
They were not. So I'm looking at it here, and yeah, man.
No, they were ranked. Or maybe they're ranked now.
Ranked now, but they haven't played anybody ranked. So that's kind of it for Georgia. It sounds weird, but it's true.
Yeah, no, Kentucky was ranked when Georgia played them. Kentucky was ranked 20th when Georgia played them, and then Georgia ripped their fucking
Are you sure?
balls out. Yeah, they're ranked 20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, they're playing a top 15 team here, and I guess that's what we're going off of. Ohio State's got 2 ranked wins over top 10 opponents. Fine. Look, these rankings are fine for this week, but Georgia, in my opinion, should still be 1. Last 2 natties in a row.
Yeah.
Beat everybody they're supposed to beat. I don't really understand
They've looked a little flat. I mean, they don't anymore. They're hitting their stride now. They looked flat at times. Auburn sucks, and they did not play well against Auburn, although we told you that going to Jordan-Hare or whatever it's a rivalry game. I would say really the only thing would be, Dan, maybe like where's more love for Florida State coming in at 4th?
I'm gonna go different here. So
Okay.
pop that list up one more time. If I'm giving you my honest opinion here of what this list should be, I've actually got Washington at 1. I would have, Georgia. I'm sorry. Let's put Georgia at 1 because of what they've done and everything else, right?
All right.
Yeah, but it should be independent of any other year.
You're
The
right.
last 2 years shouldn't count.
You're right. All right, so let's throw those out the window then. If we're going independent of any other year, I got Washington 1. I got Florida. It's strength of schedule. They got the best. In my opinion, they have the most impressive win. Right there at 6 is Oregon. They beat Oregon.
I think Oregon's
They
better.
didn't deserve, so do I. They didn't deserve to win that game, but they did, and there's nothing you can do about that. I thought Oregon should have won by 2 scores in that game if it wasn't for their fucking coach.
Or just 2 points if they had just taken
taking the
points,
field goals.
taking the fucking points.
So Washington at 1, Florida State at 2.
I think you Ohio State 3. You can't.
Ohio State 3 for those 2 wins.
You can't. I mean, they're undefeated. Like at some point, like the worst you could possibly rank Ohio State is 5th if you would just want to be really negative to them.
Right.
By the way,
Georgia after that, and then Michigan after that, or bump up Oregon. I mean, Michigan hasn't played anybody.
So
I'll put Michigan at like 25.
yeah.
The funny thing about these rankings, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, it literally goes all the undefeated teams.
Yep.
And then all the 1-loss teams.
Yep.
And then all the 2-loss teams, with the exception of all the 1-loss Power 5 teams. Mm-hmm. And then Tulane's in at 24, but then it's all the 2-loss teams. So the college football playoff is basically like, unless something crazy happens, all you 2-loss teams can fuck off.
Right. But if you're an any other college fan here, and you see this Ohio State at 1, this tells me the same thing it told me last year. If they went out and just lose to Michigan, don't go to the Big Ten championship, they're in at 4.
Not if these other 4. There's way. I think if you have 4 1-loss or better conference champions, then someone's not going to get in as a 1-loss non-conference champion.
Well, what they're telling you here, because Washington and Oregon are going to play again, right?
Presumably.
One of them will be knocked out of this.
Yes.
So they're out. Ohio State will have to play Michigan.
Yes.
If Ohio State loses, they probably get the 4 seed. Georgia will have to play Alabama at 8 here, right? Presumably.
Georgia, no, we'll see this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't definitively tell you one way or the other right now who's going to play from the West in the SEC championship game. I don't know who. I have to think about live on the show who's going to win this fucking game.
But let's say LSU here ends up winning this somehow out of this side, or the SEC or whatever. They're at 2 losses. They're currently at 14. A 2-loss team has never gotten into the
They're not getting in.
CFP.
Even if they win the SEC, they're not getting in with 2 losses. There's no fucking way.
So as long as that loss to Michigan isn't embarrassing, I don't know how they get out of the top 4 here at this point.
Ohio State?
Yeah.
It's just if they lose and the other teams, if they lose and Michigan's undefeated, Florida State's undefeated, Georgia's undefeated, and then either Washington or Oregon wins the conference, a 1-loss Oregon wins,
right,
they'll get in over Ohio State, who didn't win their conference.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. They won their conference, and they avenged their only loss.
It's still going to be a loss. I don't know what they're going to do.
But Ohio State would have a loss too.
Yes.
And Ohio State wouldn't have avenged their loss, but
their
Oregon
loss
would have.
would be, according to these rankings, to number 1 Michigan at that point. And so what? You lost to the number 1 team in the nation.
If you don't give the conference champion weight over a team that just has one loss and didn't win the conference, then what's even the point of anything?
But they've done it for the last 7 years now. Georgia and Alabama have been in twice, I think, against each other.
But not over
Ohio State, Michigan were in it last year.
But Dan, did they take that spot over comparable conference champions with the same record or better?
What?
Like did Georgia or Ohio State get in over like a 1-loss Pac-12 team or a 1-loss ACC team that won their conference?
No, because the Pac-12, I think the winner had.
Yeah, there's always it's always 2 teams get in
Yeah.
when there's a conference champion with 2 losses or more.
Okay.
So that's essentially, or like last year
was
TCU
weird too, because TCU lost the conference championship and still got in.
Yeah.
right, because it was a shallow pool last year. But yeah, if a 1-loss
Pretty
conference,
fucking shallow this year.
I think it's deep this year. I just don't think there's a good top.
Yeah. The good news about this, and we don't have to spend too much time on this debate, is all of this will shake out. The way that these teams all play each other here, we'll just go through the top 12 because one of these will be your game. Missouri will play Georgia this weekend.
Yes.
They could be out one or the other. You know what I'm saying?
I read there's 7 or 8 teams left that control their own destiny, essentially, and that's what college football is.
Missouri is one of them.
Yeah, we are. It's win and you're in.
Yep.
Win and you're in. And because there's a couple teams, like Penn State is 7-1, but they do not control their own destiny.
Right.
So yeah, there's like 7 or 8 teams left that fully control their own destiny. Missouri being one of them. And look, you're not going to get in the playoff with more than 1 loss. So
they got to win out.
Yeah, everybody's got to win out.
Yeah.
Pretty much whoever you are, you got to win out.
Yeah. And then the way this shakes out schedule-wise, again, Ohio State will play Michigan. That'll shake itself out. Washington will more than likely play Oregon again. Texas will play Oklahoma again. All of these in the top 10. Alabama.
We'll talk about that. I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
I don't know if Texas and Oklahoma are going to be the 2 participants in the Big 12 championship.
But even if they're not, that'll knock them out of this list.
Yeah.
So they'll be done. They'll have 2 losses. So they could be done this weekend. One of them could be done this weekend.
Yep. I actually think. I'm not even sure Ole Miss controls its own destiny.
On their which side are they on?
They're on the SEC West. They beat LSU, but they lost to Alabama.
They lost to Alabama.
I'm not sure that they're fully in control.
No.
Yeah, they're certainly rooting for LSU this weekend.
Oh yeah,
but we'll see.
Absolutely. But take these polls in the early weeks for what they're worth. The most interesting thing to me, I think, was that the Michigan AD was there. And since they have not made a decision yet on what they're going to do with that university, you got to slot them in. There's nothing you can do. But day by day with the Connor Stallion shit and him showing up at CMU.
I know. That's getting insane.
It's getting so wild now that Paul Feinbaum this morning, and I fucking hate him as much as you guys do, but this morning they were like, what the NCAA is doing right now is inexcusable by not suspending this coaching staff and this program and just figuring this the fuck out. Like, we've all seen all this shit at this point.
I know you guys got a bowl ban a couple years ago or whatever.
Over tattoos.
Urban's first year.
Over tattoos.
Typically, they don't come down that hard on blue bloods.
But Tressel lost his job. National championship coach.
It doesn't
lost
happen
his
often.
job. Ohio State got a bowl ban in which they were undefeated that year, and were playing for the national championship. They would have played LSU that year. I don't know if you remember. That was the LSU-Alabama rematch that year.
Was that 12? Oh, yeah.
So it would have been Ohio State versus LSU for the national championship, and they had to bump up Alabama because of it. That was over a pair of game-used pants that were traded for free tattoos.
Right.
Not dressing up people on their sidelines and videotaping
Straight
people.
up espionage.
And sending people to fucking stadiums all over the goddamn country and then potentially selling that information to other schools. Because now South Carolina and Tennessee are involved. Where allegedly Tennessee bought some of the info off of them for South Carolina or something like that.
By the way, you know what's really weird about this? Everyone's freaking out about this, and I guess it matters because Michigan's like a top-tier school, and they're in the CFP or whatever. No one cared when Herm Edwards' own coaches did this to him and gave full-ass plays to other schools and everything just to get his ass fired. People were like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and we moved on.
Yeah.
Everybody moved on and was like, wait, what? I think Herm got some money out of that, right? Like,
It must have been something under the table. How are you not suing everyone?
It's nuts. It's absolutely fucking nuts. But look, Michigan fans, don't think I'm coming after you for just being an Ohio State guy here. I don't want any of this to happen. I just want the season to play out, and I wish none of this would have happened. I just don't know what you do from a university standpoint there, and what the NCAA is going to do. And now there's more and more pressure from the media and all that shit. Yeah, it's wild, but you got to do something because it's one of the top teams in the nation.
Yeah.
So yeah. You got to
What they're going to do is drag their fucking feet, get the ratings, and then figure something out when the season's over.
My mom was asking me today. She's like, what's your honest opinion on this? And I go, from what I've heard, there is so much evidence and video to review, not just from him and the laptop, but from other stadiums, because they're pulling the full game tapes. And the last time they did this was for a murder trial in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. It involved Larry David, actually.
No, I don't recall that one.
Oh, so they were shooting Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, there was the episode where I believe the owner of the Dodgers was getting a divorce with Larry, and they shared the same lawyer that Larry recommended. And in the background at Dodger Stadium, a guy got off, I believe, a murder charge.
Yep.
Because he was in the background of a Larry David scene.
Yes. And they were able to identify the other guy. I mean, it was a strange situation, but the reason I bring it up, to comb through that much footage in a stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just take Ohio State, for example. It's 115,000 people. Like, good luck. It's going to take a long fucking time. So my guess with Michigan is they'll probably wait until after the season.
Yeah.
Kind of what they did with the Pete Carroll situation at USC, and then make a decision afterwards.
Yeah. I mean,
I would highly doubt they knock out one of their top teams.
Did you hear recently about the basketball with the Kansas and the end of that investigation with the NCAA?
No, Bill Self?
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
Didn't hear about it. Not much happened, but they did have a Final Four vacated. Did you even hear about it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They have to take one of their Final Four banners down, but they don't care. No one else fucking cares. And now no one's going to yell at the NCAA because it's like 5 years later. And it's like, whatever. I saw them in the Final Four.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you?
Exactly.
They were there.
The stealing signs and all that shit affects, I mean, the outcome of a game, whereas that doesn't, I don't know, man. Like, even the hardball thing with the cheeseburger, look, I don't care what Hamburger Hardball does or any of that shit, but I didn't agree with it. Like, no reason to charge him, suspend him, any of that stupid shit. Like, it's fucking gay. And but this other shit that affects the outcomes of games, yes, I'm sure everybody's pissed that has played them, and clearly Shiano was, and he was the one who set this off. So people are like, oh, it was Ohio State. No, it was Greg Schiano. And then there's people inside the Michigan program, a guy named Jim Stapleton, that keeps coming up over and over again. That I guess he had a vendetta against Harbaugh, and he's there.
I'm sure Harbaugh rubs like everyone the wrong way.
Yeah,
like it's like if you're that's what they said. He kind of like burned out in the NFL because it was like in college, he's fucking annoying and he sucks, but the players cycle out. Mm-hmm. But in the NFL, at least the stars, they're there for like 8 years or what, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, I can't fucking take this guy anymore.
I know. So it's strange. You got to leave him in. I think my guess is end of the season, and then we'll check back. Now, Bob, your nightmare scenario happened here.
Sure did.
Is that Georgia
sure did.
Came in at 2, and they actually have something to play for now. Kirby's got something to put up on the message boards. Yep. The bet I was going to make on Missouri this weekend is now going to change.
That's fair.
To all in on Georgia here.
Yeah.
How pissed were you last night when you saw this?
I just exhaled, really. I was just like, because I kind of figured it was going to happen. I'm just like, God fucking damn it. Now, the line has moved a full 1.5 towards Missouri. It opened at 17. It's already at 15.5. So
I was fully prepared today to bet on Missouri and take all those points. Where are we at? 15.5 today?
15.5,
Jesus Christ. It was 17.5.
Yeah.
Monday when that opened, man.
Yeah, it was a big boy line.
My God. All right. No, now I'm all in on Georgia.
Now it's just like these guys who are all going to be in the NFL who have 2 fucking national championship rings already. They're going to be like, no one fucking respects us. And they'll actually believe it and fucking come out and just rip our fucking throats out.
Yeah.
How do you even convince yourself of that?
Well,
that no one respects us.
Yeah, we believe you. We're all fine. Yeah, it's good luck with that narrative. But they'll use it. And Carson Beck looks great. Speaking of which, you know the rules, kids. Start off with last week's wins and losses. and then we'll give you the predictions for this upcoming week here, starting with that Georgia team. Georgia, Florida here. Had Georgia, wasn't real confident in this bet. However, they fucking rolled. Look, Florida ended up scoring 13 points in the fourth quarter in garbage time. But at one point, man, this was 37-7, and this game was over in the third. They pulled everybody. Carson Beck looked great.
So there's something interesting about this game, though, that gives me a little confidence for the Missouri game we can talk about later. But so it was kind of close. It was to 10-7 after the first quarter, right? And then things fell off the fucking wagon for Florida, and they ripped off. I think Georgia outscored them 16-0 in the second quarter, but they outscored them 16-0 on basically like short fields. It was 2 turnovers and a safety, right?
Right.
So it was a touchdown that was 3 plays for 31 yards, and then another touchdown that was 4 plays for 11 yards. I mean, they got the ball basically in the fucking red zone.
Sure. But that's what Georgia does. They've got a great defense. Those are the guys they pay.
One of them was on the worst fucking play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That 4th and 1 situation where they snap it through the Florida quarterback's legs. And they're like, you know what? Instead of just doing a little tush push for 1 yard, let's just for shits and gigs, let's try to gain a whole ass 9 yards on this one play. But we'll start 9 yards back. We don't want to go 9 yards forward. We still want to only end up 1 yard from where we started,
right?
But I just want to get a 9-yard running start.
Some of these calls this year from these coaches, from the Oregon coach to Ohio State's coach to that Florida coach, I'm mystified by some of these play calls. Every week it's somebody who fucks it up.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's coach, 10 on the field. The fucking your coach, Drink.
Yeah, the fucking delay a game.
Delay a game for he push it to a 62-yard field goal.
Yeah, completely bailed out by the longest field goal in SEC history.
There's just been wild, ridiculous, stupid, missed play calling on all these guys. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen it like I have this year. Move on to Ohio State, Wisconsin. Took the half a point on this one. We got it. That's why we do this. There's fucking 8 games that this has come through this year. That is why I do it. I know it pays off at a little less money, but just take it. Otherwise, this would have been a push and a loss.
Well, you just risk more money. It pays off the same.
Yeah. Look, and here's the other part of this is, so I watched this game. I watched Honda McCord here. He was awful. This game was miserable. This was a miserable slog all the way to the very end. I like what they did with the running back, though. If your quarterback is this shitty, hand off the ball 80 times, which is what they did to Travion Henderson, who is back. He is healthy again. By the way, the mystery surrounding him of this injury again, he said it was a dirty play in the Notre Dame game that caused the injury that he was out for the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
I was there, and I don't remember it, so...
You don't recall seeing anything weird?
I don't personally, but...
Was it something under the pile or something?
He said it on a press conference this morning, and I don't know.
Somebody just grabbing his wiener under the pile?
I'd have to go look back and look at it, but look, the formula here, throw it to Marvin Harrison. 6 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Some of these catches are just so ridiculous that
he had half of Kyle McCord's yards.
Oh, every game he does.
Yeah.
I mean, him or Egbuka, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
So keep doing that. But he still had 2 picks against one of the worst defenses in the league. I just don't know how this is sustainable for Ohio State with this fucking guy. Next up, we got Florida State, Wake Forest. Took this one. We were fine on that. Didn't need to watch one single second of it. All good there. Washington, Stanford. Look, Washington, I told you, let's kind of watch out for this team. This is 3 weeks in a row now with barely eking by people here. And Stanford's 2-6.
Yeah. Stanford, it's at Stanford, the sleepy game.
Penix had a good game.
The Arizona State game worries me a lot more than the Stanford game. The Stanford game is just I don't know. They weren't maybe ready, but they still put up 42. The Arizona State game, which they should have lost, and they only scored, I think, 7 points on offense or something like that.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
I know.
Stanford, this Stanford game is like a normal textbook, they kind of got jumped up and bit and surprised. The Arizona State game is what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Oklahoma, Kansas. All right, I lost bad on this, but you guys, I think, took Kansas in this.
Yeah.
Tell the audience why you guys took Kansas.
Dan, you want to?
Oklahoma sucks.
But beyond that, look, they were undefeated team. They beat Texas. We can't say that they suck.
They squeaked out that Texas win. Neither of us have faith in Oklahoma's offense.
It's the same thing. I think Oregon's a better team than Washington. I think Texas is a much better team than Oklahoma, but it's a fucking rivalry game, and whatever happens, happens.
The Red River shootout, especially wacky shit happens a lot.
Bad calls. Texas should have won that game.
Yep. Yeah. And look, I really like I know Oklahoma scored 33, but Kansas actually has like a pretty shitty defense. I don't trust Oklahoma's offense at all. I do not trust that they're going to show up in big games. And I want to say, I got to jog my memory on it, but even against Texas, it was their defense that kind of created the offense on turnovers and stuff like that. Not like pick sixes, I think, but just really short fields and stuff like that. So against a team like Georgia or Oklahoma, more so Oklahoma than Georgia, but like if you just limit the turnovers, don't give them short fields, it's manageable. You're probably not going to win most of the time, but you can do stuff.
All right, and since both of you guys think Oklahoma sucks here, do they make it to the championship game in the Big 12?
Well,
they're going to lose this weekend.
I think they miss Kansas State. I kind of think there's a decent chance OU makes it. I'm more worried about Texas making it. Although Oklahoma's schedule, so we talked about this maybe on Outside, they got to go to BYU.
Not easy.
It's
a weird place.
Spooky game, and then they have Bedlam this weekend against an Oklahoma State team that is now ranked.
Yep.
And, although that might just be to goose Oklahoma's schedule, and B.
No, they're just feeding Ollie Gordon, who's going off for like 200 yards a game right now.
And B, this is an Oklahoma State team that's jaded, the jaded lover.
Yeah. And they always pull out one or two victories a year over ranked teams, highly ranked teams, Oklahoma State. Every single year they fucking do it. So it wouldn't surprise me. Next up, BYU, Texas. Yeesh, lost this one. Good for the backup quarterback, whoever that was. Yeah, man, I had BYU in the points. Lost this game. Texas is rolling here. Great running back. That Brooks kid is great. 100 yards and a tutty here in this game on 16 carries. This was never in doubt. And, yeah, congratulations. Next up, Oregon, Utah. Had this one. Oregon minus 6.5 on this one. My wife, I was with Jesse in Vegas. She's like, let me pick one game. And I go, great. What do you want to? She picked the Oregon game as well. So I'll give her a shout out. We won a bunch of money off of this. What happened to Utah?
They don't have a quarterback. And Oregon's defense is one of the best in the country. Yeah. So it's just, or Utah can play that shit against most teams where they're just suffocating and then they, score enough. But you're not going to do it against Oregon.
No. Oregon dominated this one start to finish here. Never close, never in doubt. Not like the next one, Indiana, Penn State. Spread was 32 on this game. And Indiana kept it to 9. Whoever bet this, I told you not to bet it. I don't like to bet games in the 30s, but not great if you're a Penn State fan.
This was the first game in, I think, like 2 years that Penn State allowed 3 passing touchdowns. Somehow Indiana was lighting them up.
At home?
Yeah.
Man, not great if Michigan's coming to town in a couple weeks.
I don't have faith in Penn State beating Michigan.
I do not either anymore. Not at all. Oregon State's versus Arizona. All right, I know Oregon State's 11, and it's fine. I didn't bet this because we said on the show it was going to be a tricky game here. Arizona has hung around in all these fucking games all year round, dude, and they were able to pull off another one.
Arizona is a weird game and a bad call away from being 7-1.
Yes.
This is a much better team than their record looks like. They don't fuck with Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona's spooky.
So, yeah, big win. Good for those guys. Look, we love when Arizona and Arizona State are playing well, not because of the football teams, but because of the ladies there, obviously. Vandy, Ole Miss. We could have written this script. Yeah. That was an easy call. Notre Dame, Pittsburgh called this. Fine on that, 58-7. Notre Dame's putting a lot of fucking points on the board recently. Weird thing was, Hartman didn't have any passing touchdowns in this.
No.
He had 2 picks, and it all came from the running backs. That Estimate kid is really fucking good, the running back.
Yeah.
So they'll continue to rise, which is obviously good for Ohio State and those guys, rankings-wise. North Carolina, what has happened to this team? They have fallen off the wagon. They lost to Georgia Tech in this one.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Mac Brown teams always lacked a little bit of focus. High on talent, but a little soft sometimes. I remember Texas fans always complaining that he was too soft on his players and let him he was like Grandpa Mac, let him do a little too much leeway in terms of both like partying and raging and shit, but also just like maybe practice not being that hard, especially once you start getting good.
Present you with how weird Georgia Tech's schedule's been this year?
Oh, go ahead, because they were the ones that beat Miami on that fucking 44-yard Hail Mary at the end when homeboy didn't kneel out the clock.
So they opened up against now ranked 13th Louisville, barely lost.
Okay.
Beat SC State, lost to Ole Miss, explainable. Beat Wake Forest, lost to Bowling Green. Then beat Miami, lost to Boston College, beat North Carolina.
Jesus Christ.
Very weird.
Very odd indeed. Had no idea.
They're 4-4, and wait, what's the rest of their schedule? They're probably a bowl team at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, Virginia this week. That shouldn't be a problem. And then they just got to beat. Well, they're not going to beat Georgia at the end of the year.
Well, no,
so.
if they're going to continue being weird, they'll lose to Virginia, beat Clemson, lose to Syracuse, beat Georgia.
Beat Georgia. That'd be fucking funny as shit, dude.
But can we all agree Drake May is done Heisman Trophy-wise? He's out of the conversation now?
Yeah, 2 losses and 2 losses to, a really bad team and a mediocre team.
Yeah. They're done. Duke is now out of this conversation here. Duke at Louisville lost this game. And the way that this was teased up, too, was 21 points, and it was 23-0. Duke didn't score a fucking point in this game.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Louisville is low-key. Dan, does Louisville have a shot at the playoff?
No.
No?
No, they lost to Pittsburgh.
They win the ACC, 1 loss?
No.
You can't lose to Pittsburgh. You just can't.
And the weirdest thing too, looking at the stats of this game, Louisville's quarterback, 11 for 16, that's fine, 117 yards, and then you shut out a team 23-0 there.
Duke
very bizarre.
So Duke, I feel like a lot of people are still envisioning Duke as the sort of David Cutcliffe, high-flying Duke team scoring a lot, but Duke's a defensive team. Their offense isn't that great, even though Riley Leonard was there or whatever, but even with him, their offense is kind of whatever. So Louisville was just we just got to shut them down. We'll be fine.
Next up was Air Force Colorado State there. Air Force continues to roll. They're 8-0. You love them. You guys love them, dude.
That's Dan's boys.
They could be heading for a New Year's Six bowl, baby. We'll find out.
Put them in the playoff.
Put them in the playoff. Why not?
Put them in the playoff.
No respect for the troops.
They're undefeated. No respect for the troops. Tennessee beat Kentucky at home. This was a fun game to watch, and I think we said, look, man, sit this one out. It was 3 points here. Ended up being 6 as the final there. Tennessee, where are we at with them?
I have no idea how to read this.
I don't either. Week to week, I have no idea, and I can't figure it out. Kentucky's quarterback looked great in this game.
This just seems like a classic Heupel team. UCF, once he took over, obviously the first year he took Scott Frost's guys, went undefeated again, lost to LSU. But every year after, he progressively was an 8 or 9 win guy.
Yeah. No, he's on that pace now. However, Tennessee is 6-2. Tulane Rice. I don't do anything with this type of shit, and it was 30-28. That's exactly why I do nothing with these games. I know, right? I watched the only time I watched Rice all year. Full disclosure, was the opening game against Texas. Just because it was here and it's local, and
they're decent.
They look good in the Texas game.
They got JT Daniels.
Rice is probably a bowl team. I would imagine you'll see Rice bowling this year.
They're 4-4.
4-4. They're close. They're close.
They got some tough games left. SMU and UTSA are the next 2, but Charlotte's terrible. They should take care of Charlotte, and
we'll cover it outside. But I love that over in SMU Rice.
Oh yeah.
How much? What is it? 90 in that game?
I think it's only 59.
Oh, SMU's been hitting that on their own.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Is it 90? Next up, Colorado UCLA won this one. Colorado was getting 17.5 in this one. That was fine. Look, the Deion Sitch, you're 4-4 and all that other stuff. I read a lot online about throwing him and the hype and all that other shit under the bus there. It's year 1.
Right.
He'll get his recruits in, dude, for Christ's sakes.
Give it time.
It's already a success.
It is already a success. So hey, dude, all good on that. Wait till next year, and he will keep receipts. I can promise you that. He's a vindictive motherfucker, and that's why we love him. But once he gets his recruits in there next year, watch out, friend, especially if his kid stays. If his kid stays one more year,
I don't know why he would go. I don't think Shadur is ready.
I don't either. So, but the big board says otherwise from Mel Kiper. I personally think he should stay. USC Cal. All right, I was out with my wife. It was our anniversary. We were at a Dell that night. I did not watch this game. However, it was 50-49.
Yep. And
Did any of you guys watch this?
I mean, so by the way, Cal lost going for the win.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay, they went for 2 at the end?
Uh-huh.
They were also up big in the second
No
half.
shit. Okay.
USC had to come back.
So all you need to know is that, A, it's a joke that USC is ranked 20th in the CFP rankings. They shouldn't be ranked.
No, they have Caleb Williams.
Well, that's it, kind of, right? They're barely winning these games because of him, because of how great he is.
Mm-hmm.
But so they went for 2 at the end. Was it a shitty call or something?
I believe it was kind of drunk when I was watching the highlights, but I believe it was just like a convoluted, 2-point call where it's just like, dude, just fucking run a play.
Yeah, just run a real play.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, man, that defense is so fucking bad. If they don't Iowa has already fired Ferentz, the offensive coordinator, right?
Yep.
Why the fuck is Alex Grinch still employed?
No idea. Are they friends? Do they bang the same chicks? Like, what is it with him?
Right. What does Alex
Lincoln Riley
know about Lincoln Riley?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, there's Cal scoring 49 points on you.
That's more embarrassing than whatever secrets Alex Grinch has about Lincoln Riley.
Even if it's a De La Hoya photo where he's in fishnets and lipstick and shit, put it out. Fine, put it out. Just get rid of this guy.
Do you think they roll squad deep, them and Cliff? They just all go out to the...
It's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Well, they're the college football pussy posse.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But whatever. Next up, ODU, James Madison. I don't fuck with these games. This was a 3-point game.
The goddamn rank James Madison.
Yeah, they are. They're ranked.
Not in the
They barely held on. Did they fall off because of this?
Not ranked in the CFP.
Or the CFP is in cahoots with the NCAA with certain things because they realize JMU can't be ranked because of the NCAA. However, the CFP did come out and say that the investigation against Michigan by the NCAA is the NCAA's business. It has no effect on the rankings.
Huh. Okay.
Weird.
I'm going to say this right
happens.
now.
Yeah.
James Madison would beat USC on the field today.
Maybe. I mean, look, anybody with a good offense against that defense of USC
James Madison has a great offense.
shot.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
That's false.
James Madison beats USC on the field today.
It might happen in a bowl game.
Well,
You might get your wish.
No, they don't. They have a bowl not banned, but
Well, they can't play in one.
they're not allowed to play in a bowl.
Got it.
Because
Okay.
there's a 10-year fucking probation period when you.
Yeah. I get it. All right, we got some sponsors here real quick before we get to this week's picks. Obviously, we're brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros will double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Tons to bet on right now. Great slates in college this week. Sit home, put some money on all this shit, and just enjoy your Saturday. It's chilly across the nation. Got a flannel on today. Throw some money on the games. Have your wife make you some fucking soup. And bet on all this shit. It makes it funner, even though it's stressful sometimes. So go to mybookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros doubles that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Look, and if you are staying in, grab yourself a 12-pack of Hard AF Seltzer. We're live in Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio now. So look, if you're watching the Ohio State game or Auburn or Alabama, we're available all over their campuses, everywhere. 14-0 Liquors at Ohio State. Shell Station next to Tuscaloosa down there. Is Alabama at home this week?
Yes, I believe
they are. Go to
against LSU.
Ramajama next door and get some Hard AF Seltzer there. Right there. We're in every single Total Wines down there. If you're in Amway Center, go and grab it. And if you're looking for a store closest you, go to the store locator on hardafseltzer.com. Type in your city or zip, and it'll take you to the nearest location there. We have just crossed 1,200 locations. We're in 1,200 locations. And yes, we still ship to your house if you're not near one of them. It's just expensive. So, look, it's liquid. It sucks. Just find a store or a buddy to channel it up to you, all right? Support us, support the show, and buy a 12-pack of Hard AF Seltzer. 8%. No carbs, no sugars. Last but not least, drinkinbrostickets.com. If you want tickets for any of these games, NFL games, World Series, UFC is now coming to Austin. We just found out yesterday. All of those tickets will be available on drinkinbrostickets.com, about $10 cheaper than StubHub. All right, Bob. Let's get into the odds this week here, leading off with the number one ranked. It's weird to see here. Number one ranked Ohio State.
In your classic time slot.
Yeesh. Noon. It's just gross.
Have you even watched a night game? I guess Notre Dame, but that's
like
it.
One. Yeah. And I was at it.
Yeah. Everything else you're having with a cup of coffee, not a beer.
When we played Penn State, Dan and I got on a flight after the game at 6 o'clock and flew home.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It's a nightmare.
I tailgated at 8 a.m.
Right.
Went to a noon game and then was able to make a flight and come back to Austin, Texas. Ugh. That's how miserable these fucking games are. This is at Rutgers. If you're going to this, congratulations. I won't be there for that. This is Ohio State minus 18.5.
This is just all the Ohio State alums in New York.
Going to
the Rutgers game.
Yeah, that's all it is. Who you got in this one, Bob?
Ohio State definitely wins. I like Rutgers cover. Shiano, ex-Ohio State guy. Yep. Also, you're telling me the over/under is 42.5 and Ohio State's going to win by 20, basically? I don't know. Yeah. I kind of like Ohio State by 13 or something.
Same. I've got Ohio State. I've got Rutgers with the points here on this one. Because the other part of this, too, is Michigan's coming, right? You can, now that you're one, you can kind of coast if you want. There's no reason to really blow anybody out. Now that we've seen the CFP rankings, and that's clearly what they're doing it on, is strength of schedule and what you've done. With Michigan coming up here in 3 weeks, you don't need style points right now. You're one.
No,
you don't have to do anything.
Rutgers has a good defense, too. So
they do.
It's just going to be a fucking 11 a.m. rock fight.
It is, a lot of handoffs there to both running backs, and who knows? We'll see if Honda McCord can turn this fucking bullshit around, but I'm with you. I'll take the points at 18.5 for Rutgers. Next up, great game here. Kansas State's at Texas. Texas -4. Spread is this low because yours is out. Mm-hmm. Who you got in this one?
K-State money line.
Woo!
I also like the over/under 49. Their backup quarterback is not bad. I watched him last week against BYU. He's good enough, and K-State has a shitty secondary. Mm-hmm. Good defense overall, but a shitty secondary. I think the over/under hits in it, but I think K-State wins the game.
Wow, dude. I've been burned by this Kansas team all year.
This is two things. One, they have Avery Johnson, K-State, a quarterback now. Their offense is a lot more dynamic than it was before. Two, this is a sleepy 11 a.m. game in a stadium that's always a little sleepy.
But by the way, a true 11 a.m. game.
Yes.
True. Ohio State's at noon. Right.
So
this is a true 11 a.m. game
This
Central,
is kicking off at 11 a.m. local time in Austin. The crowd is not going to be up. And they also, Texas fans, this is a game they kind of poo-poo, you know what I mean? K-State is a second-class citizen to them. K-State's going to fucking jump up and bite them.
I think this is a field goal game here. Therefore, I'll take the points on Kansas State. However, I think Texas wins by a field goal. I agree with you. I think everybody will be asleep for this shit. I've been in these 11 a.m. games here in Austin. Miserable. The players look fucking tired, too, getting off the bus. It sucks. Fans can't really get into it because they're supposed to drink booze at 7 a.m. now for a tailgate or whatever. It's hard. It's tough. Dan and I vowed not to go back to these 11 a.m. Austin games.
Bullshit. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks too because it's going to be kind of cold at the start of the game. Whereas if the game is at 2:30, it's a literal perfect fall.
Yeah, it's going to get up to 64 degrees.
Yes.
But I think Texas wins by a field goal. I just don't think they cover here. I think they'll pull it out in the end somehow.
This could end up being a really hilarious weekend for the Big 12.
Well, if Kansas State wins, that knocks out that Texas is done. That's a 2-loss Texas team. They're out of the playoffs.
They're out of the playoffs, and both of their losses would be Big 12 losses, so probably out of the championship game as well.
This is a massive game for them, so they better take it seriously. Next up, you get Texas A&M at Ole Miss. This is Ole Miss -3. Who you got in this one, Bob?
Fucking smash Ole Miss.
Yep.
Texas A&M is goddamn dysfunctional.
Yep.
A home game, 3 points against A&M, who hasn't shown they can do much of anything this year. Dude, I'm all over Ole Miss.
Yeah, and you know my rules. Whenever it's 3 or 7, I buy a half a point to be safe. Ole Miss -2.5 in this one. Texas A&M just can't figure it out against the big schools. I know they're 5-3, but they just can't figure it the fuck out, and they'll find a way to lose this game, even if it's just by a field goal.
They're going to beat Ole Miss.
I don't think so.
Why do you think that? Because the line is surprising, right? Like I was surprised to see 3 points. Why do you think they're going to do that?
Because Ole Miss is going to shit down their leg, right?
This is just a classic Ole Miss stumble and fall game.
Well, they're due for one, right? Probably two.
And A&M's good.
They are good, and look. I don't know if it's the coaching or whatever. They bought the best recruits in the nation the last 2 years.
They have the talent.
They have the talent, so I don't know, and that's why the Texas A&M is so tricky. However, I'm going to give this 2.5 and say Ole Miss wins by a field goal at home. Another 11 a.m. game, by the way, for these guys. A true 11 a.m. game for these teams. Next up, we got Notre Dame at Clemson. It's Notre Dame -3. Who you got?
I'll take Notre Dame. Clemson's a mess. Although maybe Dabo's mad that one fucking fan was like, "Hey Dabo, I know you got 2 national championships, but why are you a failure? You're a big old failure. I know we ain't had much fucking ever at Clemson before this, and you basically put us on the map. But just why are you a failure now?
You call yourself a man of God. Yeah, you a fraud."
He even brought in the salary. Was it $11.5 million? The guy said on air too,
yeah.
And it was just like, holy shit.
Like you can't have one bad year. You can't let them figure it out on the fly after he gave you two.
It's 2 to them, right?
Yeah,
2 bad years for them.
But I mean, it's not. They were fucking never. I know they had a championship in the 80s. I think maybe the year after Georgia won with Herschel.
Yep.
But like, oh my God, did they not remember the Bowden years? Like growing up in college and even right after college, Clemson was like, this is the fucking year. We got all the recruits. And then they win 8 fucking games.
Yep. I'm with you.
Know your roots.
Hey, they were never that great. Dabo made you great. Yes, he put them on the map. He got all the things. Look, you go to Clemson. Let's say you're a recruit, right? You go to Clemson. It's cool. But it's not as cool as the other big shit. You're not going there over Alabama or anybody else unless Dabo gets you to go there, gets you to believe in Christ, and through him anything is possible, and gets these guys in. So calling in to shit on Dabo is crazy to me.
There's valid criticisms of him. He's one of the dudes that has really not embraced the transfer portal, and he's probably too loyal to his coaches that stink.
Well, he doesn't believe in name, image, likeness because
sure doesn't.
Oh yeah, NIL.
Clemson has been in the name, image, and likeness of Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yeah. That is the only name, image, and likeness you should live your life in.
It sure is. And for that reason, same rules apply here, kids. Spread is 3. I got Notre Dame at 2.5. They pull this out. This is a noon game as well. So many good games on this weekend, though, because I'm watching this. Like, this is going to be a fun game. Next up is UConn versus Tennessee. This is not a fun game. This is Tennessee -35.5 in this one here.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't do the 30s.
I kind of think this is a type of game Hype will covers pretty easily, I feel like. I will say UConn, 21 against South Florida, 38 against Rice, 33 against Utah State. I kind of love the over here because the over's pretty low. It's only 55.
I don't know if UConn scores is the problem.
I think they score.
Okay.
I think they score. I think Tennessee puts up like 50, and maybe UConn gets a touchdown or 2 field goals.
Yeah,
or something.
50-7. Mm-hmm. I could see it. I just don't want to risk it. There's a ton of other great games here, and I'm not doing this one. You know the rules. The contract I signed with my bookie, I don't have to pick all these fucking games. I don't because I don't want you to lose.
If you're gonna,
sure.
I don't know about the 33.5. I mean, probably. I just said they probably do.
Sure. I just can't put my money on this shit.
Yeah.
But if you want to, and if you're a Vols fan, have fun. Next up, Arizona State at Utah. This is Utah -11. This is dangerous. Arizona State's always hanging around, dude.
Are they? Other than the one game, like yeah, Washington and I guess they hung around on Colorado.
Colorado 27-24. Washington, they should have won the game by 2 scores.
Even against USC, they hung around for half and more. Yeah,
they did. Oklahoma State 27-15. Oklahoma State is
they were up in that game for most of it.
I know. They hang around, dude. They're there. What do you got?
Yeah, they haven't been losing by double digits much, so I just don't know how they're going to score on Utah. It feels like I'll take Utah. I like Utah to win by like 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to take Arizona State. Okay. Look, Utah's coming off a bad loss, and Arizona State has nothing to play for, so fuck it. They're just every game they're trying. It doesn't matter. So, give me the points in Arizona State. Next up, we got Army versus Air Force. Let's go. Air Force minus 18.5. Yeah, for the troops. Who you got, Bob?
18.5. I'll take Army to cover that. That's a big spread for a service academy game.
No, it's a principal game right here.
Did you guys look at the over-under in this? 31.
Right.
Yeah.
Just sheer principle, you have to take the under.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, this is a 13-3 game again.
Yep.
There's one consistent bet I've made my entire life, and it's Army Navy under. Every single time I've only lost once.
Unders,
I've
which
only lost once.
Seed the Air Force overs this year because Academy unders, it's a staple of my life. So we will always go with that.
And the leading passer for these teams is the Army quarterback. He has 740 yards passing on the year, 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And yet Air Force is the one who's undefeated.
Yep.
Oh, yep. Doing the over-under just to do it here, kids. Got to stick to the rules on this one. I'm with you on the 18.5 too. If you want to do that, that's fine. But that true number's the over-under. You know, this is going to be a fucking. Well, they're telling you. Vegas is telling you this is a 17-14 game.
Yeah.
So it's probably right there. Who knows? Next up, all right, Bobby. This is where shit gets real in the program. Another great game this weekend. Missouri, number 12. At Georgia, number 2 now in your programs here. Georgia minus 15.5. Who you got?
Well, I know I said earlier, like, oh, they're going to be mad they're ranked second or whatever. This is actually a huge advantage for Missouri. It's much harder to beat the number 1 team on the road than the number 2 team on the road. Much more difficult historically. So this is a big win for Missouri right off the bat.
Sure.
Man, I'm taking Missouri to cover. Fuck this. I don't care. I went to Mizzou, so don't listen to me. But it is interesting because this is easily the best team Missouri's, both the teams have played all year.
Both.
Best team Georgia's played all year, but also not just like best overall team, but by far the best offense they've played, and I would imagine the best defense they've played as well. Like just as individual units. Like they ain't played nobody, Paul. Yeah. So yeah, Missouri covers, man. I'm honestly sprinkle the Missouri money line. It's got to be huge at 15.5.
Let's get into it here as a fan.
Yeah.
Where are you watching this game, and how fucked up will you be if Missouri pulls off the biggest upset maybe in the history of their school?
That would be, we beat OU when they were ranked. It was actually a very similar game to when we beat OU 13 years ago. They were number 1 in the BCS. We were number 11.
Okay.
But that was at home for Missouri. The actual one thing that bodes very badly for Missouri, so Missouri oftentimes plays Georgia very close. They have several times, including last year.
They should have won last year.
They should have won last year. They won at Georgia literally 10 years ago.
Okay.
However, all of those games were September, early October.
Right.
In the later season games, Georgia usually fucking runs train on us because they're in their final form by that point. But yeah, I'm going to watch this game with my buddy. They're having a party that night. He went to Mizzou. They have like a party every year where they just buy a ham.
That's cool.
People get drunk and
punch the ham.
Yeah, I mean, I'll punch the ham.
Yeah, why not, dude?
If we win or lose, I'll be punching the ham. So yeah, I'll be real fucked up by the before the party even starts. He's like, "Come over early.
Sure.
We'll watch the game, then the party will start." Honestly,
there's a ton of great morning games.
There's a ton. Oh yeah.
So,
I'm gonna be all day.
Yeah.
And mother-in-law's in town, so I have no fucking kids. So it's just not my fucking problem.
Boy.
So yeah, I'm gonna be real. By the time the party starts, really the party should hope that Georgia wins, because I won't be that drunk if Georgia wins.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'll be like, well, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
If Missouri wins, my marriage is in trouble because I'll just be so drunk I won't know who my wife is that night.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Punching walls.
Yeah, all kinds of shit like that. Yeah, just total embarrassment. So,
yeah. Look, gut on this one says take the points on Missouri because they're a pretty goddamn good team and their quarterbacks had a great year here. But I think this ranking It's the one thing that Kirby Smart is going to piss him off, and Georgia ends up, I think, covering late.
I agree.
I think this is close, and then they end up covering late.
That sounds like the most realistic. Very similar to LSU.
I bet you Missouri might even be up by halftime by field goal.
I kind of think this game is like Missouri.
Georgia's a slow starter.
They are, yeah. I kind of think this game is like we go into the fourth quarter. Missouri's not ever really felt like they were in control of the game, but maybe they're only down like 10, and then they just don't. They aren't able to finish it off.
Yeah.
And
you just get exhausted against this defense.
Yeah.
And so I got Georgia covering late in this one. Next up, Florida State at Pittsburgh. This is Florida State minus 21.5 here. Look, they're number 4. CFP rankings are out. What do they need to put on a show against Pittsburgh? Does it matter? Because they can just win out and they're in.
Literally, yeah. They just went out
That's
and they could even lose a game and I think win out and they're after that and they're still in. Dude, Florida State's fucking rolling right now. Pitt's terrible. I'd maybe buy a half point and just go 21.
Yeah. I'm with you. Don't know that this will be on my bingo card, but
I will
check
say
in on
this.
Drinkin' Bros Sports.
Florida State needs more style points just in case they do hiccup a game than Ohio State or Georgia or even like Washington or something. Like I think they're in the weakest conference.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was one team that I would say in the top
LSU win.
6, what?
They still got that.
They do have the
Massive
LSU win.
LSU
They do for now. Look, if LSU loses to Bama, obviously they'll keep going down and down and down.
Yeah.
But, we'll see where LSU finishes up. But I think you're fine taking it if you want to. I don't know this will be on my bingo card, but yeah, Florida State should win this game pretty easily. Next up, another great fucking game. If you have YouTube TV, this is gonna be a quad sitch for me, which they have.
Yeah.
Do you have YouTube TV?
Oh, yeah, it's clutch.
Fucking rocks. You can quad it up, switch from volume to volume on each game.
It's also just
it's awesome.
They're not a sponsor, but it's also just the best thing. Like if you're just on the move and you got to watch something on your phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, dude.
Like it is fucking. It's so fucking clutch compared to anything else.
Sponsor us, YouTube TV. I would love to be a sponsor for you guys. I
will.
am all in on your broadcast, and it's awesome. But this is Oklahoma, number 9, at Oklahoma State. This is Oklahoma minus 6. Who you got?
Dude, me and Delco are of the same mind. I think I love Oklahoma State. This is not only is this a rivalry game, it's the last rivalry game. Mm-hmm. They don't know. There's no further scheduled right now.
Nope.
That crowd is going to be fucking gnarly. Oklahoma State is on a roll. OU just lost.
Yep.
And I don't have a lot of faith in their offense. Mm-hmm. So, dude, fuck it.
Yeah, I always look at a game like this in ticket prices. I know I bring this up a lot, but it means how crazy and hyped up people are for this game. The last row in this stadium right now is going for $311 on this. That means nobody wants to sell their fucking tickets because they want to go to this goddamn game, dude. That means this crowd is going to be hyped as shit. It's going to be loud as fuck. I'm also going to take Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma looked like trash last week.
I know. Oklahoma's also given up, I believe, 132 yards on the ground. Ollie Gordon's going off right now. He's going
off
for like
right
200
now.
yards a game.
He already has he's got close to 1,100 yards rushing on the year already.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he didn't start the season, I believe, as a starter.
No. He would be in the Heisman conversation if he did.
He kind of is.
He might. It's one of those years where, remember, was it Caleb Williams last year that just turned it on towards the end and then just kind of blew everybody out?
You can get him right now, I believe, on my bookie at like 50-1.
Sprinkle
Honestly,
it.
might be worth sprinkling right now because if he has a big game against Oklahoma, he's going to shoot up to like 10-1.
Him and Marvin Harrison. Yeah, him and Marvin Harrison, man. Those are the two if you're sprinkling long shots. Go ahead. But I'm taking Oklahoma State as well. Another great game to watch. Man, this is a fucking awesome slate. Next up, you got Penn State at Maryland. This is Penn State minus 8.5. This isn't an easy game against Maryland.
Yes, it is.
You think so?
Maryland is good early, like Dan Delco likes to tell me.
Once the calendar is not September, Maryland sucks.
Penn State is going to run right fucking through them. Maryland is in a tailspin right now.
Yeah. Tua's brother's got 2,200 yards already. I think Penn State wins. I think it's by 7. I'm going to take Maryland with the points in this one and go with the 8.5 because it's too much for me to buy down to 6.5 at that point. But I'll take Maryland with the points. I think this is closer than we think. Another reason here is next week is Michigan. So you could overlook this Maryland team at home and be like, oh, fuck. All right. And then just win at the last seconds. Penn State has not looked great the last couple weeks.
By the way, so another thing too to keep, I think kind of keep in mind. So Maryland has had a good offense this year, and that has inflated the over/under to 51. But I kind of think that under hits because I don't think Maryland's going to do much against Penn State, and obviously Penn State is kind of anemic.
Right. I'm with you. It's a great bet. Is that over and under? Next up, I got Virginia Tech at Louisville here. Louisville's up to 13 right now. This is Louisville minus 9.5. Who you got?
It's a tough one. Louisville kind of quietly, I don't think they're out of the playoff picture yet. I think they control their own destiny, personally. But
If they would have to win out, obviously.
Yeah. But everybody does. Everybody has to win out pretty much, except for like 4 teams who can maybe afford to slip a game.
Ohio State and Georgia, I think, still get in with 1 loss.
They still have Miami on the schedule. They got to play Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they got to play the ACC champion.
I'm just saying they could. They control their own destiny.
They could. I mean, look, it would be impressive if they won out and then beat Florida State. Yeah.
It's already impressive what they're doing right now.
It is.
Brom's a good coach.
He's not bad.
He's finally home. Virginia Tech kind of turning on lately. They did not look like they were even going to make a bowl game early in the year. I think they were on like a 3-game losing streak and then got kind of railed by Florida State. But beat Wake Forest, beat the Syracuse team that we were way too high on. You know what? I think this is a tighter game than Louisville wants. I don't think Louisville covers. I like Virginia Tech to cover.
All right, I've got Louisville in this one. That 9.5 did it for me. I think it's a 10-point game, and I'm going to take Louisville. Every time I've bet against Louisville this year, they fucked me, so I'm going to bet on you. I'm sure.
Virginia Tech also weirdly still in the ACC mix.
Yeah, they're 3-1. Virginia Tech controls their
in
own.
the ACC, but not in real life.
Well, they're 4-4, but in the ACC, they're
still
loss.
This is the type of year where, all right, you're out of the playoff, but you can still hang a conference banner.
Yeah,
let's fucking go.
Right.
Like LSU, probably out of the playoff, but they can still hang a conference banner.
At least the coach can tell the team that. Yeah, for sure. Next up, I'll leave this one up to you guys here. I don't deal with this fringe bullshit. Tulane at East Carolina. This is Tulane minus 17. Weird to see East Carolina at 1-7 though this year.
They're not what they used to be. I guess.
Holton Ayler's gone.
Okay. Who you got in this one?
I'll take Tulane. Tulane rolls.
Delco?
Against East Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tulane.
Okay, good for you guys. Yeah. Won't be watching this. I'll be watching that Missouri-Georgia game and all the other amazing games.
Also, I mean, low-key, Michael Pratt right now, one of the best quarterbacks in the country for Tulane.
Extremely efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's fine. We'll leave it at that. There's probably one person in the audience that cares about that game.
Michael Pratt's going to be a guy. He's going to be a factor.
And that's great.
Maybe at the NFL level, we'll see.
Tickets are $10 if you want to go. You can hop on down there to ECU for $10 if you want to go see it. Next up, we got Cal at Oregon. This is Oregon minus 24 here. Oregon 6. Who you got?
Man, so I feel like Utah against Utah, they lost by 20, right?
Uh-huh.
And Utah doesn't have much of an offense, but has a comparable defense to Oregon. So Oregon has a Utah level defense plus an offense.
Yep.
I'll take it. I might actually buy a half point and say 23.5, just because I think 24 might be right about where they land.
Right.
Actually, fuck it. I'll take a push. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, 24. I think Oregon covers. Maybe they end up winning by like 28, but yeah, I think I don't know how Cal's going to do anything, and Cal kind of just probably wore themselves out a little bit last week.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Look, I think you're fine betting it. Not the most exciting game to bet on for me this week.
I think Oregon's going to start to stomp motherfuckers.
Yeah,
I think they're going to go on a run. They're I think, in my opinion, one of the top 4 teams in the country.
I agree. Their coach is the only thing that is preventing them from being top 4 in that CFP.
And
he's aggressive. I like his mentality, but yeah, sometimes stop being stupid.
But that's the only reason that they're not there. I'm looking at this list now. Yeah, they would be there.
Points. I mean, and also look, they do need style points a little bit.
Oh, they sure do.
Not like they're not going to get in without it if they win the Pac-12.
Right.
But if there does end up being 5 1-loss conference champions or undefeated conference champions, you're going to need to pad your resume a little bit. They need a little bit of insurance style points.
I just put a ticket on them to win the Natty at 14-1.
Ooh,
not bad.
It's
not bad at all.
And I
Look,
already got a Florida State ticket.
If the coach can stay out of his own way, it looks like one of the most complete teams in America.
Mm-hmm.
offensively and defensively.
Bo
But
Nix is still guy.
it's up to the coach. And if, let's say, it was Georgia, Oregon in the national championship, my money's on Kirby Smart then, just because of the coach.
But if somebody knows that Georgia team and Kirby Smart, Stan Lennon.
Yeah, it is. But he'll fuck it up with some weird play. It's just a guess there. Next up, we got Kansas against Iowa State. Whew. Weird line on this one. Iowa State is not ranked, and they're favored in this game.
But they are 5-3. And also, the Big 12 is low-key fun this year, roughly in control of their own destiny in terms of the Big 12.
When you say fun, you mean stinks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Big 12 stinks.
Yeah, it stinks. That's fine. But it's a fun stink, right?
If you're into it, sure.
It's like a shit you're enjoying taking, but at the same time, you're like, oof, this is
It's a terrible conference, and we have yet to win a conference game.
I've yet to win a Kansas game, therefore I'm staying away from this. Every fucking time I bet on them or against them, it's the opposites. So fuck this team. Who you got in this one, Bob?
Man, they've got a pretty interesting resume so far. They're on a 3-game win streak. They beat TCU, who I think kind of stinks this year. Cincinnati and Baylor are both fucking garbage. I kind of like. It's funny to me that Iowa State is in front of Kansas in the Big 12 standings. So this is actually a very important game for Kansas, both in terms of standings wise and just I guess you could say like bowl hierarchy.
Well, you see, Rob, they lost to Iowa State lost to Ohio.
They did.
Yeah. So.
They did. I like Kansas to win this game. I like the money line in Kansas there.
I normally would. Again, I've been fucked on them. I would take Kansas as well. Very odd fucking line on this game.
Weird
but
place.
Yeah. No, I know. And Iowa State's always going for one of these upsets. So is Oklahoma State. I get it. It's just it's weird, and there's plenty of other games to bet on here. So I will probably sit this one out at the end of the day. Purdue at Michigan. Michigan minus 32.5. All right, you're coming off a bye week, coming off the controversy. Ohio State jumps you in the rankings to number 1 in the nation. Are they pissed off enough to win by 50 fucking points? My answer is yes.
Yeah, they're gonna win by a fucking lot. I think. Go ahead.
I don't bet games in the 30s ever.
Yeah.
This is one that I will though.
I mean, just here's their last 4 games: 45-7 covers, 52-10 covers, 52-7 covers, 49-0 covers. Against all teams of comparable quality to Purdue.
And this isn't your fucking granddaddy's Purdue team. Purdue is usually pretty respectable every year. They're 2-6 this year, 1-4 in the Big Ten. They look awful. This feels like a 56-0 game. Maybe 56-7.
Yeah.
You know what's nuts?
What's that?
J.J. McCarthy, obviously, he's like for some reason favored to win the Heisman.
Well, that is fucking insane to me.
Yeah. He only has 3 interceptions this year, all against the same team. He threw 3 interceptions against Bowling Green.
Really? Did they have his fucking signs in that one? They were working
guess.
together, but I look at his numbers. How is he the favorite? The 2 his brothers got 500 yards more passing than this guy. I don't get it, dude. I would put money on everybody else, and especially with the scandal. Now's the time to sprinkle on those Heisman guys that you're looking to get some big odds on.
Likely the guy that's probably in the driver's seat right now is Bo Nix.
Could be. Again, that one game just fucked him.
I know, but all he's got to do is he wins the conference.
I know.
He's Heisman.
Yep. And he's, what, 25, 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 45 years old.
There was a I was talking to a Texas alum about this and in Oregon, and he goes, dude, I just don't think you understand what an advantage it is to be 25 years old.
Yeah, dude.
In college, like, your mind is just so, and he's right. Even as a non-athlete, at 25 years old, you just know more shit than you did at 20. He's got a distinct advantage, and so did Stetson Bennett.
Yep.
Wouldn't you like to do a year
Penix,
in
by the way,
college?
also old as fuck.
Oh, yeah. That's why those guys are the 2 dudes right now in the conference.
Forget sports. What if you were just you get to go back to college, but you're 25, or you have the knowledge you have now? Wouldn't you love that?
It would be just unbelievable.
It would be
unbelievable.
like even before like fucking partying or whatever. Like it would be almost impossible to get a bad grade in a class as a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like every decision you get to do with like the hindsight or perspective that you have at 25.
Fuck yeah,
26.
dude.
What if fuck even the hindsight? Just a 25-year-old's brain instead of an 18-year-old's brain.
I know.
It's completely different.
Different world. But think about it from a quarterback perspective. the pressure is less because you're like, all right, great, man. Like I've got
I got a wife and kids to go home.
Yeah.
I'm a
Like,
grown ass man. Yeah,
I'm a grown up. I'm a grown up, dude. I should be in the NFL. All of my friends are in the NFL and they're starting.
Iowa State basketball used to be like super good, always in like the Elite Eight, kind of, flirting with the Final Four. Those teams always had transfers that were like 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of grown ass men.
I know. It's fucking strange. But yeah, Michigan rolls all in on this. Washington at USC. Great game. I'm going to watch the shit out of this. This is Washington -3. Who you got?
You know what? I kind of like USC here.
Same.
I kind of like USC here.
Washington hasn't been that great the last few weeks. This is the game where Caleb Williams says, you know what? Fuck you.
And
I'm the Heisman Trophy winner, not you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Let me at least take this from you.
Yeah.
All the NFL scouts are going to be at this game.
Yeah.
In real life.
And by the way, USC still completely controls their destiny.
One loss in conference.
Yeah.
To get into the conference championship game. They are not going to make the playoff, but maybe they can convince themselves they can still make the playoff. But yeah, dude, I kind of like. I mean, Washington's not going to stop USC. Obviously, USC's not going to stop Washington. So it's really just a matter of who gets ball ass.
With this many NFL scouts in this who are watching this game, the kids know, the coaches know. They're telling them, "Hey, man, you even know where they're sitting for Christ's sakes."
Yeah.
I think Caleb Williams balls out against Penix, and you can throw the fucking defenses out the window there.
Yeah.
I think this is, what's the over, 90?
76.
Shit. It's the highest over I've seen this entire year.
Yeah, Washington's given up 20 yards less than USC's defense, so let's not say Washington's defense great.
No. It's not at all. I don't think it's as bad as USC's. But
I'm saying this is a game where USC gets in the shootout.
Yeah.
Caleb's got
this could be 52-50 at the end of this fucking thing, dude. And it's going to be fun as shit to watch. I'm going with Caleb Williams on this one over Penix, and simply because Washington hasn't looked that good the last couple weeks, and they should have lost to Oregon by 2 scores, in my opinion, in that game, and then another fucking banger right afterwards. Is this the best Saturday in college football this year?
I think it's the best Saturday of the year so far, yeah.
Jesus Christ. LSU at Alabama. Alabama -3 at home. Who you got?
Kind of like LSU. I like LSU. LSU's offense is arguably the best in the country. You could put it up there with Washington and USC. Their defense is figuring it out. I don't think Alabama can stop LSU. They'll definitely slow them down, but I don't think they can stop LSU from scoring 30 points, call it. And I don't think I think LSU can do enough to keep Alabama down. I
feel like you, Connor Stallions, my entire picks this week here because we're almost in line here. So I saw this Alabama team in person. I agree with you. I think it's the points that matter. I think that LSU will put up too many points, and I don't think Milroe will be able to score as many points as Daniels will. And therefore, I've got LSU for that one simple reason, and that's it. I mean, I watched Texas go in there and just physically score more points and beat Alabama. I think the same thing is going to happen in this game.
Alabama by 2 scores.
Oh, boy. Really?
Man, I'll tell you what. If Alabama wins by fucking 10 or more, then they're going to win the national championship. If you do that to LSU's, because if they do that, that means they've stopped LSU's offense. That means they've held LSU's offense like Florida State did to 24 points?
Yeah, their defense
probably.
is good. Alabama's got a really good defense.
It's an okay defense. Let's relax.
They're figuring shit out on offense. LSU can't stop anyone.
The highest point total Alabama's put on the board. Well, let's throw out the Division II game. Besides that was 40 points this year. I don't know how you keep LSU under 40 points. That's been the mystery. What do they put up against Missouri?
Their offense put up 42.
Yeah.
They did. They had the pick 6, but yeah, their offense scored 42.
Right. So and for that reason, I just think it's too much offense. Alabama's defense isn't that good.
They've given up. Forget the Army game. Obviously, they shut out Army, but they only let up 18 to Auburn, who's not great, but you know,
20 to Tennessee last week.
They also held Mississippi State to 14, but that was early in the year before they kind of whatever. I don't know. I think LSU's defense is going to do enough. It's one of those units where it's not like USC where it sucks. It just sucks. LSU's defense has sucked, but they still have dudes.
Yeah.
I don't think USC's defense is quite the same.
is going to be just like the Ole Miss game. They held Ole Miss to 10 points. Alabama's going to just roll.
No. Too much talent on LSU's offense. I've got LSU in this game. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up points-wise. That's it. Next up, we got Oregon State versus Colorado. This is Oregon State minus 13.5 on the road here. Who you got at Colorado?
Fuck Colorado. I'll just go Oregon State by 2 scores. Why not?
It's a night game. I'll stay away from this one in real life, but it's a fun one. It's on at 9. I'll probably watch it. That'll probably be the nightcap for me.
I will say this too. Why not take the over? It's only 62.
62, yeah.
It's only 62.
62 will be fine.
I think the over hits.
Yeah. And look, Deion's due for another fucking win, dude, against a ranked team. Like he almost beat UCLA. It was close. Next up, we got UCLA, ironically, at Arizona to finish it up. UCLA minus 3 here on the road. Who you got?
Home dog, baby. Arizona is way fucking better than their record looks. Mm-hmm. Give me Arizona. I think UCLA is like pretty good for sure, but I don't know.
They're okay. I was not impressed with them last week.
Dragged their feet a little bit against Colorado. Obviously lost by double digits to Oregon State, and then Utah just choked the life out of their offense. Not that Utah scored much, but I like Arizona.
Yeah, it's a weird night game that few people watching, and Arizona in this one.
Someone to look out for potentially the NFL at receiver. McMillan for Arizona is going to be a stud.
48 receptions on the year, 672 yards and 6 touchdowns. Looks pretty good. Imagine him with a good quarterback. So, hey, who knows? Either way, this is an amazing fucking slate this weekend. If you're not betting on this, you're not alive inside here. Go to mybookie.com. Use that promo code DrinkinBros to double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. And if you want to go to these games, again, just go to drinkinbrostickets.com and get tickets. The weather's pretty nice for most of these games this weekend here.
It's a nice fall weekend across the country.
Sure is, dude. This is a dream college football weekend here across the board. I don't see any rain or snow in any of these cities here, so you're good to go. Take the kids out. Take the wife out. Get outside. Enjoy fresh air for once in your life, for Christ's sakes. I'm going to. Appreciate you stepping in, Bob, here this week. D'Anthony will be back with us next week. Flip on over to Patreon. Drinkin' Bros Podcast Patreon will be live in 22 minutes over there. D'Anthony will be there for that episode, and we'll see you soon. Obviously, don't forget to go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. No reviews, all right? Do it. We need it. I love you. Good night, everyone.